was recited, I think, in such a beautiful way. I have literally
Honestly,
goosebumps over
honestly.
here. MashaAllah, so beautiful. All right, so let's begin our conversation
Exactly,
with
let's do
Professor
that.
Saab over here, if I may start.
Yeah.
All right, sir. So here's the thing. It's going to be a longer statement, but I want, of course, your view in it. So in the letter that we spoke about initially, our Premier actually wrote a letter to all the leaders of the Muslim states asking to collaborate and actually speak about it. He mentioned something very important, and I think it is mostly overlooked, marginalization, of course. If if a person of impact like Emmanuel Macron, if he is publicly encouraging hate against Islam, isn't that creating space for violent groups to come in and act as Islamist groups and actually, be radical? Do you know what I mean? Not actually Muslims, but a lot of other people can make use of this situation, exploit it actually. And again, it will be, sort of blamed on Muslims. How should we react in this situation?
Thank you very much for this, taking this very important topic as a topic of discussion today.
Our pleasure, sir.
I think this is something very calculated.
Yeah.
I do not take it something which has been done by him capriciously, without
Okay.
having any brooding on it. This is something very planned.
Okay.
And these kind of things that you see quite often coming from various parts of the world. Sometimes it's France, and sometimes it is from Norway, and sometimes it is coming from Denmark.
Yes.
And of course, Trump is also saying a lot many things like that.
Of
We hate
course.
Islam, and Islam is cancer. And these kind of things that you see very common these days and are becoming part of the media debates. So I really do not take it something which is quite capricious and quite something out of the way.
All right.
And really, we do not understand this thing that something coming from France is that volatile. Why this kind of
Right,
volatile
we
kind
don't
of thing?
understand.
Really, this is something for common people. I mean, those who do not really understand the history of Islamophobia in France. I
Okay.
call France as a home of Islamophobia.
Really? Okay.
And I have a justification, I mean, historic justification for that. For instance, I can just tell you some, very quickly I can just find it out.
Yes.
You see, the first Quran that was translated in any European language, that was from France.
Okay.
You see, and that was a very polemical interpretation, or you can say the translation of Quran. And that was done sometime in 12th century.
Okay.
You see, Crusades are starting from which place? France.
Yeah.
That was in fact an onslaught, a physical onslaught against Muslims to, you see, wipe them out, because they are the people, those who are existential threat to the Christianity and the rest of the religions of the world.
Why? Do you think so, though? Are Muslims an existential
We are
threat?
not actually. This is something, in fact, threat to them. Reason being that a huge number of people is converting to Islam at that point.
Absolutely.
So that's why that scared them. Once Islam is spending like that and that does not stop, then of course we would not be there in the world. So this was in fact
Makes
the fear
sense.
that in fact forced them to pose Islam as an existential threat for them.
Got it.
So the first Quran translation was in fact done, and that was done by who? By Peter of Cluny. That was in fact declared as Peter the Venerable.
Okay.
At that time, the king declared him as the venerable person. That's why his name is now remembered as Peter the Venerable.
Got
And he had someone who was in fact going to translate Quran, and that Quran is still considered as a Ketan's Quran.
Okay,
I mean, Ketan
okay.
was the person who in fact translated Quran under the supervision of Peter. Peter was the one in fact who had created a polemics against Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, which is considered to be still a very, what you can, authentic book about the heresies that they call actually heresies.
Okay, okay.
They were saying that it's a heresy of Christianity and Judaism.
Okay.
And whatever the sayings of Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam there, that was in fact all denied by him.
Okay.
So this kind of, you see, thing was starting sometime in 12th century, even before that.
Yeah.
I'm giving you example of
Right, right.
10th century, 11th century, and 12th century, all crusades are there. So France, I say that France is in fact consistently in fact following this path. And that's why you see there are, right now, I'm giving you very fresh figures, more than 70% of the people, those who are in jails, in prisons, they are Muslims. And they are in fact behind the bars because of the petty crimes. And very recent example, just 2 years back, when Tariq Ramazan, a professor of religious study from University of Oxford, he was the one who was working against these kind of polemical things that were against Islam, Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and Quran. So he was writing about these kinds of things, and he was, you see, alleged that he harassed 2 women in France, and some 15, 17 years back. And that man was, you see, so courageous. He immediately went in France and posed himself as, I'm there. You arrest me and prove it that whatever the kind of thing that you have alleged me, that's an absolutely right thing.
Exactly.
You just prove it. And you see, for the last 2 years, he is behind the bar, he is in jail.
Okay,
And
okay.
still his trial has not been started. I mean, you see, there are very systematic fashion. France is in fact moving towards these kind of things.
But sir,
But I'm very sorry, but I think that we really need to speak about the origin of this entire chaos which we see as of now as well. So it's actually about a professor, Sami Paty was his name. You know, from 2015 onwards, every year when the new class would come in, he will give them a lecture about freedom of speech. And whenever he'll speak about freedom of speech, God forbid, he will mock Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And and the students, when they started telling that, you know, sir, this is not something which you should actually be doing, he would actually make the students go out of the class. So this kept on going, and then eventually there was this kid Abdullah, you know, who actually was 16 or 17 years old, filled with the love
I
of
mean,
Prophet
we
Muhammad
do not
sallallahu
even
alaihi wasallam.
appreciate that. That
Exactly.
action is not appreciated.
Exactly, but sir, that's the kind of love you do have for
Yeah,
Prophet Muhammad
exactly.
sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Absolutely.
And the one thing which I've witnessed so far is, and we want a solution from you, we want a suggestion from you, because we have never seen Muslim Ummah coming together.
Yeah.
But the only reason why Muslim Ummah unites is when, God forbid, somebody says something bad about our Prophet. And that's the time when the entire Muslim Ummah comes together.
We can't stand
So
that.
how do you think that we can take advantage of this opportunity and make sure that we really have policies on an international level where nobody can speak about it?
Yes, this is very
That's
interesting.
good.
And as you are also referring to Prime Minister's letter to Mark Zuckerberg, I think we should have gone, this is good. I don't say that this is something, but this is something which we need to go much beyond that.
Yeah.
Okay.
For instance,
Yeah.
when there was something like this, I mean, there were people, those who were saying something about the sacred things in Europe, I mean, the Christianity and the Judaism.
Okay.
A few years back, I'm not probably talking about more than 1 year old thing.
Oh, right.
So, European countries, they sat together, they discussed it that we have to stop these kind of things coming on the social media. And you saw all social media is operating from Silicon Valley, California.
Okay.
So they all got together, they went over there, they had discussion with them, they had a round table over there, including all the social media like YouTube, like Facebook, like Twitter, like Instagram, and all these kind of things. So they were all together, sat around the table. And the European delegation, in fact, confronted them and said that if something like this would happen again, you will be blocked in the entire Europe.
Brilliant.
And then they stopped.
And we should do something like that.
We should do something like that. I mean, Prime Minister of Pakistan should in fact initiate this thing, calling people from Malaysia, calling people from Turkey, Indonesia, Bangladesh, and even from India. Of course, there's a huge number of Muslims living over there.
Of course.
So I think they should all sit together and then discuss this matter with them. Why you are trying to have this kind of thing up there? Why you are trying to promote these kind of things on the social media?
Absolutely.
So I think we have to stop this by creating a sort of consortium where the people from these Muslim countries should talk with them this issue. That as and when this thing will happen again, I mean, innocence of Muslims, you remember that. So innocence of Muslims, right now Facebook is in fact considered to be, there is a very recent report where Facebook is considered to be as a very polemical kind of thing, which is encouraging those things which are against Prophet ﷺ and Islam. A very recent report, I'm talking probably a report just a few days back that has been
Okay.
released.
Okay.
So I think we have to have something like this, that the countries, the Muslim countries, I mean, that doesn't require anything. After there is no aside political difference among the countries
It's
on this
just a
issue.
will that we need.
That's in fact the will which in fact
But
makes this
sir,
happen.
one thing though, you know, of course, this is one thing we should do definitely, and I hope we do that. But don't you think that it's all sort of a deliberate planning? I'll tell you. I'll try to explain it rather with an example. So when someone tries to talk about the atrocities that are going on in the Indian illegally occupied Kashmir, I know people who tweeted about it. Twitter itself blocked those tweets, all right? Now, when someone tries to talk about something going on in detention camps in certain countries, Twitter blocks those things. Or same is the case with, you know, something going on in the West and whatnot. But I think it's sort of a deliberate attempt to stop anything that hurts Muslims from being published or from being posted, you know what I mean? I mean, anyone, like, again, India started talking about a civil war in Pakistan, which was not even happening. It was false news, falsely reported, you know, creating a hysteria. Even then, Twitter did not block or, let's say, removed such tweets. So don't you think it is a deliberate attempt against Muslims and against Pakistan? And how should we go about it if we
I mean,
feel
why-
targeted?
why they would do it?
Sorry, sir, sorry to cut you, but I feel like we're literally 100 years back, where a Muslim would have to get up from a seat in the bus to actually, you know, accommodate a non-Muslim. You know what I mean?
And not
Isn't
just that,
it-
I think
it's an
what we really
apartheid.
need to know is, do we even need to bother about this?
So problem is that
Is it the
have
new
we,
norm?
have we ever posed any threat to them? If we do this, we will not deal with
Nothing.
you in normal way. Probably there has no as such threat from the Muslim world.
Exactly.
So why they would then stop? And that's one thing. The second thing is that this. I mean, if you say something about Muslims, and you will see this is very, you see, quickly sellable thing. Everywhere you will see that the people are going to join the social media, and then they start
Anti-Muslim,
interacting with
yes.
that. And that makes money for them.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You see, this is a matter of money. I was in fact proposing, as you were saying, that how to, you see, come up with the solution. I'm proposing that why don't we have a FATF-like thing for Europe, for America? You see, they are saying that the money is diverting to terrorism here.
Yeah, yeah.
Why don't we say anything like that? The money is diverting to make Islam demeaning. May our
absolutely.
Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam putting our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in a dark light.
Exactly.
We should have a Islamophobia FATF for the West.
Do you think that's ever going to happen for countries that came together to create such a thing like United Nations and its
Yeah.
branches to rule the world through such an organization? Do you think that is going to happen?
Actually, this
can.
is a problem. That are we proposing this?
Yeah.
Or are we standing up
Are
for
we
it?
standing up for it? Well, you see, Muslims are, you see, forming 1.7 billion people, and there are 52 Muslim countries. If they are all together and discussing these matters and proposing this to United Nations, that there should be Islamophobia FATF for the Western countries, where you see all kind of these things are being flared up with the help of some money.
Exactly.
From where this money is coming? Is there anybody to ask about that?
Absolutely.
When we are saying that this kind of thing is now propagating on the social media, of course there is some money that is making this happen. So who is there to check that money?
Exactly.
We have been asked to check every transaction that is made, whether this is not
Exactly.
diverted to any kind of terrorist activities. Why don't you ask this thing to
It's
them?
because we've been labeled
Exactly.
as a third world country. Sorry, I use this term, but I hate using it. But that's what we've been labeled. One quick thing: for some reason, I feel like even if I say it out loud, I might be held accountable for it. But I do have to talk about it, sir. Don't you think that the Gulf countries have a huge influence in the West? They do. We cannot deny it. So their questioning or them standing up or them talking about it would actually create a difference, no?
That would, but the problem is that they are now being
They are
controlled by the
capitalists.
US. Yeah. They unfortunately capitalists are under the influence of the capitalists. I really do not have any big hope from them,
Okay.
from their side. But
Okay.
you see, we are a big world
Yeah.
that we call. You see, if I give you examples,
Yes,
there are
please.
0.5 billion from the Arab world.
Okay.
And 1.1 billion, more than 1.1 billions are people from outside the Arab world. Why can't we create a difference? in
I
that?
hope we do.
And we can.
We look for them,
Yeah.
but why don't 1.1 billion people can't do anything, which is in fact more than, you see, 30, 35 countries.
Exactly.
So we have to be, you see, together to in fact pose this kind of things.
And we
to
need
us.
to
That's
do that
true.
more regularly as well. But thank you very much, sir, and thank you very much, sir, for joining us. It was wonderful to have you. And I think that, ladies and gentlemen, this is the modern day conversation which everybody needs to have and look for solutions rather than just coming out with blatant ideas. I don't think that that's something which is very doable as well. But I think what people need to do in these times is that we all need to just be together, and that's it. And this is what they're doing. They're marginalizing us, and they've been trying to do so. But did that ever happen? No, it didn't, because we came out stronger, and this is something which we really need to do. We need to come out stronger, because whenever we're going to emerge stronger, we'll have smiles, and they will probably know what to do and what not to do. And